Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. I am your host Moose616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yeah, day 15 is here, and we are pretty much at the midway point of this glorious 31 Days of Horror series. And yeah, so we're going to take it all the way back to 1974. With a film directed by Jose Ramon Lares. This guy also directed a film called Symptoms that was recently released by Mondo Macabro, always thought to be kind of lost and stuff, which is a fantastic film. He also directed a film called Black Candles a little bit later. And I've actually never seen that movie, but I heard it has some pretty interesting parts involving, I believe, goats and things like that. So that's up your alley. You know, give it a shot. I believe Code Red just released it. But anyways, the film in question here from 1974 is simply titled Vampyres, spelt very, very cool. I like the way they spell vampires there. But get into the synopsis of this film. Basically, this one is about these two beautiful lesbian or bisexual vampires, and they live in this huge mansion, this huge castle in the English countryside. And what they do is they basically just kind of roam the countryside looking for men and women to take back to their huge castle to have sex with, drink wine, and then basically feed off them. So that's pretty much the entire film right there. Now, my thoughts on this one. Now, if you're into, erotic thrillers, kind of hypersexual type, erotic type films, this one might be for you, man. It's got a lot of nudity, a lot of sex in this one involving, of course, girl on girl. There's threesomes. There's a whole pile of crazy things. And then you get mixed in with some blood and gore and things. So it's kind of one of those type deals. It's very much, like I say, I feel like a broken record when I review this type of films. But this film is so much, again, of the times. From 1974. It's a Spanish film. And it is one of those type of films where it just has all the ingredients of a film from that period. It's got a very simple story. It's kind of like very slow, it's got a very kind of unique type rhythm to the film, I should say. But what's kind of cool about this film, it's pretty slow, but then it has like these really awesome scenes where, the two vampires, they go and kill these people in very vicious ways and things like that. And I kind of like that, though. They don't really hold back on that. And Blue Underground did a great job with restoring this film and putting like all the cut version or the cut stuff back into this film, because this was a very heavily edited film, and I can see why, because it's very hypersexual and mixed in with violent kills and things like that. I can see where the censors and people were just not digging it, but yeah, it's a very simple film, and I do really like it, though. I like the whole aesthetic of the film. I like the setting of it. The castle's just fantastic. The whole countryside has this very kind of dismal and dark, like kind of British weather. Like it seems like it's clouded over the whole time. It's just kind of miserable, kind of like these vampires. But in a sense, I mean, they're not really overly that miserable. I mean, they're still feeding on people. There's this really awkward kind of subplot in the film where involving this couple that is camping basically in the countryside. But the funny thing is about where they're camping, it seems like they're camping right on the doorstep of this castle. Like, there's one scene where the wife is actually painting the castle and stuff, and then these girls actually approach her and things like that. But it's funny because it seems like they're right on the front lawn. Like, I know it's not supposed to be, but it just the way the setting and the way they kind of set up the film, it seems really awkward. I don't know if anyone else has ever noticed that's watched this film, but I just find it kind of comical. But yeah, I like this film, man. I think it's actually pretty good. I like what they do to this one guy. I won't give it away, but they kind of make him like their sex slave and things like that, and what they do and things. It's just kind of crazy and stuff. There's not really a lot of things going on in this film. It is a little bit repetitive because this is what they do. They're vampires. They're hypersexual. They go and find people. They bring them back. They just kind of repeat. So you're not really going to get a lot of substance here. It's just what you see is kind of what you get in this one. But overall, I really do like it. And I think like the very ending, what they kind of give you at the very ending of the film is actually kind of interesting what they say. And I thought that was kind of interesting. It kind of sits with you after, and you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But Another aspect of this film I like is that this is kind of more like a modern take on vampires. You know, they kind of throw out that classic mythology out the window. They kind of throw that out there where, you know, these vampires, you know, generally all, you know, they sleep in coffins and they, you know, they only come out at nighttime and things like that. You know, the daylight will kill them. Well, these are the type of vampires that roam around in the day and they prey and they hunt in the middle of the day and the nighttime. It doesn't really matter. You know, they're just, they kind of live like they're normal, but you know, there is a little bit of twist with it too. But you know, Vampyres, pretty interesting film, definitely not for everybody. I've heard people say they find this movie a little bit boring. I don't, because there's enough pretty awesome scenes to kind of, you know, kind of make up that very kind of skinny storyline. But yeah, if I had to rate this one, I'd give it about a 6.5. Beautiful, beautiful women. I mean, how can you pass up seeing, you know, the tits and muff throughout the whole film? It's just really fantastic. Now, I've heard that the commentary on this film, I should have watched it with the commentary again, because I haven't seen this movie in years, but I should have just rewatched with the commentary from Jose Ramon Lara. Apparently, it's really funny. He gets like super jacked up when the women are on screen naked and things like that. I gotta hear this. I should pop it in after this, but I should have done it before, but I work a lot, so but yeah, so I heard that, yeah, heard the features are really cool on this, but yeah, Vampyres, man, 6.5 out of 10. I think it's a pretty good film. You know, like I said, this is definitely not for everybody. I know a lot of people that aren't into these type of erotic thrillers, and it does make kind of sense and stuff, but you know, it does have a lot of horror elements to it. It's a horror film. It definitely is a horror film, just with a lot of sex. So Vampyres, 6.5 out of 10. Give it a shot, and I will see you guys tomorrow in day 6. What is it? 15? Day 16 tomorrow, and maybe it'll be a kind of a compliment piece to this one. So who knows? We'll see. And as usual, guys, peace.